Hey guys, February 23rd. Got in the river yesterday, really high. Couldn't get to some of the places I like to hunt, but I did come out with a few things that I thought were pretty interesting. Go over them with you pretty quick here, hopefully. That's hard for me to do, but yeah, the water's really high. Had some snow melt and some rain, and it's just got things really high and hard to find access to some of the places. So anyway, these are some of the areas or stones here that I think might have been hafted. Been worked all the way around the edges here, as you can see. Very little wear on the tips. And that could be a worn axe. A lot of times the worn axes don't have much wear on them at all because they weren't an everyday tool that was used. That piece there was hafted. You can see where it was grooved out there. I would call that probably a club, a worn club. I'm going to take it off on the back there a little bit, but you see again where it was hafted there. I think this piece was hafted also. This end here is the striking end, and it's got quite a few notches and pieces chipped out of it there, but I think right in through here is where it might have been strapped in. It's pecked out all around the back here too, kind of all the way around that stone there. And this piece here, I think this is either a game piece or possibly a worn axe. That tip end right here was, possibly could have been inserted into a stick. Or it could, this thing could have been hafted too, like this. Or possibly a game piece. I'm not real sure. It's soft granite with a lot of mica content in it. Pretty stone. I could see where it, could possibly be a game piece, but not 100% sure on that one. This one here, I'm not 100% sure about this. This whole back end here is grooved out, so I'm thinking it possibly could have been hafted, but it's pretty far back where that groove is to be hafted, but it's possible, I guess, maybe inserted into some kind of stick maybe. But it's a pretty big piece to be inserted. Been taken off the top there. This whole stone's been polished off really nice all the way around. I don't know, it could have been some kind of hammer. The tip's really polished. All the sides, you can see where it's been chipped out right here. Not real sure about that one. It's a nice stone though. Here's a pestle that I found. It's a green stone with that white material in it. It's all been polished off real nice and shaped in this form for a reason. There's a lot of oil right in here. That's from the fingers, where the fingers would lay. That's grooved out for where the fingers wrap around, and that's going to be your palm piece right here. So it would lay in your hand like this. Your fingers right here in this area that's been worked out for your fingers. Thumb on the top there. It's really comfortable. And that's your striking in there. Somebody put a lot of work into this stone to shape it the way they did. Polished it all off real nice. So that was a well-worked tool there. See the green stone in there. Neat shape. And this is some kind of a blade, scraper or knife, maybe even a chisel, I'm not real sure. It's got a really sharp end on it, edge on it there. I think this stone either just came out of the bank or maybe was buried in the sand, but Doesn't have a whole lot of river wear on it, so I think this one's kind of fairly fresh out of the bank. This has all been worked down here into this real fine edge that you can see there. It's a nice piece. Probably been held like that. I think this is a nutting stone. You can see the oil just really caked with oil here on this end. I think it was probably held something like this, and actually this end, this concave end with all the oil in there, was where they struck the nuts. Probably walnuts and chestnuts were very prominent up here, and very big part of their diet too. So I think it's just all the oil over time that's just permeated into the rock. Nice little piece, really old. I think that one's been around a long time. I'd like to know how old that is. And there's a hammerstone. You can see it's really been worked and worn around the edges quite a bit. See where the dark spots are? That's actually where people were holding it, and the oils off their skin would permeate into the stone. Somebody used that a lot in here on the top, and that would be in a palm. It would be held like that. But this is really smooth here, so they probably did a little bit of polishing with this stone too. Maybe used it for napping preforms or points possibly, and maybe a little bit of polishing. That one really worn too. And this is something kind of similar. It's got a lot of similarities to that other one, but it's a much bigger stone. But you can see the wear on it there. Really worn on some points of this stone. It's smoothed off really nice. Got to make it smooth or it's not going to be comfortable in the hand. That thing was really used there. And worked off in the back there. And this is a knife of some kind. It's made out of soft granite, but it's a fairly worn piece. It's been exposed for a long time, but it's really worn along this edge here, and I don't know. It's actually fairly sharp, believe it or not. This is the back side of it, and there's a little piece of garnet right there. But you can really see where it's been worn right in through here. See where they worked it off the top there. Pretty interesting piece. I'm just real not sure. I mean, just not really sure about it. But thinking maybe of some kind of a knife. With this soft granite, I guess they could have sharpened it up really quick. You know, it might not have stayed sharp long, but they could have put an edge on it pretty quick, I guess. That's a pretty neat piece. And this, I think, possibly a game stone. It's been worked all around the edges. Absolutely perfect triangle. Flat as can be on these surfaces, smooth as glass. Don't see where that pot was made for a tool. I don't see the tool in this thing, but it's possible. Possibly a game piece. That's what I'm thinking. And these are two black stone awls that I found. This is a really good material for puncturing hides, and they've been in the river for a little while, but that's what they were used for, to puncture hides. And these are pecking stones that I found, little small pecking stones. That's where your thumb would go, your finger. It's been all smoothed off, polished off around the edges. Tips pretty worn on that one. That's granite. Here's one made of quartz. This is a little bit more more of a rough piece here, but actually it's been polished. It's smooth too, but it's bumpy. Tips is really worn on it though. This is another granite piece here. It's got a fair amount of mica on one side of it there. You can see where it's been worked off here to shape it. Notched out the top. Little bird effigy that I found. See where they pecked it out here? That's the wing. That's the head, the body. I've got quite a few of these. I don't know if they use these as game pieces too. I'm not really sure, but pretty neat little piece made out of granite. This gets to a grinder, a little palm grinder. It's all been worked off in through here. That's the grinding surface there. Be held in the hand like that. That's what we call them, palm grinders. Old piece, been around a while. Somebody put a lot of work into it too. And these are polishing stones. This is some material I haven't seen before. It's like a blue granite. But you can see how flat this is. It's just flat as a pancake, smooth as glass. That's what they would use. They would use a stone like that to do polishing with. And this is another stone here made out of the same material. It's got the blue. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's just real blue speckles all in it. See where it's been notched out in the back here on this piece. And there's a polishing surface there. Be held like that. Just like that. Perfectly comfortable in the hand. Pretty neat stone. And these are hoe heads here. I'm not 100% sure, but pretty sure. And there's the working end there. It's really worn and chipped up there on that end. So they'd be put into a stick like that, and work the ground with these. This is a design here where they would actually take a stone, take a whole side of it off like that, and same idea here. They would have it into a stick like that, and then work the soil. You can see how worn it is on the end that would be in the soil there. Sometimes they would taper them down like this one's done here too, to get a little bit sharper edge on it. And they'd make these usually out of really soft granite because they would break them a lot of times or wear them out, and then they could work a piece out real quick and get back to work, another piece. So they were usually done with, made with, a soft granite. But this is what I've got today, and I appreciate you guys tuning in and checking my sites out. Like I say, these folks up here, Native Americans, were almost entirely agrarian, and these are the tools that they use to process their grains and nuts and vegetables and things that they grew here. Very little. About the only source of protein they had, really, for the most part, was fish. They did have quite a good fish supply in these rivers up here, but game game was pretty scarce. And what game that they did eat were usually rabbits and squirrels and turtles, I guess, whether some birds and ducks and things like that. But big game was pretty scarce here and very difficult to hunt. So, but anyway, that's what I got today. Appreciate you guys tuning in.